Everyone wants to get rich. Not just comfortable, not just stable, something more. The kind of life where money stops being a question, where decisions feel lighter, where time feels like it belongs to you. And everywhere you look, someone is explaining how to get there. Work harder, be disciplined, build something, invest early. It sounds logical, it sounds achievable, like there is a path, a sequence of steps, and if you follow them correctly, you'll eventually arrive. But there is something strange about that idea, because if it were true, more people would already be there, and they're not. So the question isn't, how do you get rich? The real question is, why does it always feel like you're moving toward it, but never quite reaching it? Look at how people live. They're not lazy. They're not inactive. They're constantly moving, working longer hours, taking on more responsibility, trying to earn more, trying to improve their position. And sometimes they do. The number on the screen increases. The salary goes up. The situation changes. But the feeling doesn't. It still feels tight, still feels limited, still feels like you're not getting ahead. You solve one problem and another replaces it. You increase your income and your expenses follow. You try to create space and something fills it. And slowly, without noticing it, your focus shifts. You stop thinking about wealth and start thinking about maintenance, about keeping things running, about staying stable, about not falling behind. And that shift is subtle, almost invisible, because from the outside, everything looks like progress. But from the inside, it feels like movement without distance, like you're walking, but not arriving. And after a while, you stop expecting it to change. You stop thinking, this is temporary, and start thinking, this is just how it works. You adjust, not because you want to, but because you have to. You learn how to manage it, how to stay inside it, how to survive it, and without realizing it, you stop trying to break out of it. And even when you notice it, you don't react, because it doesn't feel like something is wrong. It feels normal. Everyone around you is doing the same thing, working, trying, adjusting. So you don't question it. You accept it, you adapt to it, and over time, you stop comparing where you are to where you wanted to be. You start comparing yourself to the people around you. And as long as you're not falling behind, it feels like you're doing fine. Money doesn't behave the way you think it does. It doesn't simply reward effort. It doesn't move freely. It moves within structure, within something that already exists. Long before you arrive, you don't step into an open space. You step into a system, one that defines what is possible, what is difficult, and what almost never happens. And inside that system, movement is not only allowed, it's required. You are expected to move. And the more you move, the more you become dependent on that movement. You can't slow down because everything around you is built on the assumption that you won't. Your income, your expenses, your responsibilities, they don't stay still. They grow with you. And once they do, going back is no longer simple. It becomes difficult, then uncomfortable, then almost impossible, because the system doesn't need you to stop. It needs you to continue, to keep earning, to keep spending, to keep adjusting your life, to match what's available. And the more you adapt, the more stable the system becomes. Not your life, the system. You earn more, but the cost rises with you. You move forward, but the standard moves ahead. You try to create distance, but the structure adjusts. So you keep going. Not because you're close, but because stopping isn't an option. And over time, this creates a very specific condition. You are not stuck. You are in motion, constant motion. And that motion feels like progress, even when it isn't, because you're not standing still. You're doing something. You're moving. And movement is convincing. It creates the illusion of direction, of advancement, of getting somewhere. But the system doesn't need you to stop. It needs you to continue. Because as long as you continue, everything continues with you. This is where the perspective changes. Because once you see it, you stop asking the same question. You stop asking, how do I get rich? And start asking, what is this movement doing? You begin to notice something, that your effort is real. Your work is real, but the outcome is being shaped by something else, something larger than your decisions, something that doesn't stop you, but doesn't release you either. And suddenly, it doesn't feel like a personal failure anymore. It feels like positioning, like you've been placed inside something that keeps you active, but contained. You're not being held back. You're being kept in motion. And after a while, you stop measuring your life by what you have. You start measuring it by what you can keep, what you can maintain, what you can hold on to, without losing control. And that changes everything, because you're no longer moving towards something. You're moving to avoid losing what you already have. And that kind of movement feels very different. It's not driven by possibility. It's driven by pressure. And once that shift happens, you don't even notice it. Because from the outside, you're still moving forward. And that's why it's hard to see. Because nothing about it feels forced. Nothing feels restricted. You can move, you can act, you can choose. And that freedom is exactly what makes it invisible. Because the closer something feels to choice, the less you question it. This doesn't mean you can't earn more. It doesn't mean you can't improve your life. But it means something else, something more uncomfortable. It means money was never designed to make everyone rich. It was designed to keep everything moving, to keep people working, to keep systems stable, to keep participation constant. So when you say, I just need to work harder, you're not wrong, but you're not entirely right either. Because effort keeps you moving, but movement doesn't guarantee freedom. And the more you stay in that movement, the harder it becomes to question it. Because everything around you confirms it. Everyone is moving. Everyone is trying. Everyone is getting somewhere. Or at least it looks that way. So you keep going. Not because you're sure it's right, but because stopping feels like falling behind. And that's how it continues, quietly, without resistance, without interruption, until one day you realize you were never really choosing the path. You were staying on it. And the most powerful part of all this is it still feels like progress, even when it isn't. Because the most effective systems don't stop you. They guide you. They shape your direction while letting you believe you chose it. And you follow that path. You move forward. You keep going. And you call it getting closer.